Well, hi everybody. This is Dillon and Tim with you, bringing you episode number 40 of the Tickle Me Comedy Podcast. We're so grateful that you've hung out with us for all these sessions. I can't believe that this is number 40. It seems like we only, a couple weeks ago, we did number 10, and now this time is flying. I thought of something over the last couple days. We are social distance. You know, television makes us look a lot closer.
It's like it adds 10 pounds. It actually adds 10 feet too.
Yeah, we're
so
like
we're
10, 15 feet apart, but TV makes us look a little bit closer. So I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. We're videotaping this episode after Thanksgiving. Hope everything was fine. I hope you got to see family either in person or through social media, but at least communicate with family. I hope everything was wonderful. I wanted to just give a little shout out to our staff. We've got Sammy, we've got Nick, we've got Malaysia, who's off tonight. I don't know who gave him a leave slip. I want to welcome our new team member, Jesse. Jesse is taking over the helm of putting this thing together. And who did I miss? Oh, Stefano. Stefano is not with us tonight either, but he's out there running around somewhere. I also wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors, Tickle Me Comedy and the Blue Zone Comedy Tour, as well as Asian Cultural TV, who have been phenomenal in hosting and partnering with us to get these to make these podcasts a reality. And again, we want to thank you, the audience members, for being with us every week, and we hope you enjoy it. So without any further ado, as you can see, I'm without my sidekick tonight, Isaac Israel. I don't know where he is. He gets more days off than anybody I know. I wonder if he's getting paid. I'll have to check that. Huh. But anyway,
it's funny. He wants me to be here, but he gets a day off.
I know. I don't get it. But anyway, we'll find him between now and maybe the next episode. We'll see. But without any further ado, I want to introduce our guest for this evening, Mr. Tim Morris. Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I am great.
Almost as good as me.
Almost as good as that's what I heard. Yeah.
I have a pretty good life.
Yeah, that's good. So tell us what you do, Tim.
Well, I'm a bartender by trade. Well, I was until this whole thing happened with the pandemic, and I haven't worked in a while. But I am a bartender by trade. I've been doing it about 20 years.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, long time. Wanted to work this bar out on the strip. Started practicing because I flip bottles. Started practicing 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and got the job. But I've been there, like I said, almost 20 years now.
Wait, I have to back up.
Now.
You do the bottle flipping?
Yes, my nickname is Flippy. I do all the flipping. I do this stuff. They look, woo, woo. Look out.
And you didn't bring any bottles?
Sorry for the camera.
You didn't bring any bottles with you to give us an example. I also heard in some of the prep stuff that they gave me that you've tried to do a little comedy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I did. I actually was sometimes when I get in a rut, I'll just throw something crazy into the mix. And I got to the point where I was like waking up, going to work. As much as I love my job, I was waking up, I'd go to work, I wear myself out because I put a lot of energy into my job, wear myself up, come home, look at the TV, and pass out. Boom. So I say, okay, I want to become a comedian. I've always wanted to do that since I was like 10. So I'm like, I'm going to check it out. So I go online, bing, bang, boom, find Isaac, and he says, yeah, come down and take a class. We go down there, he takes a class. He kind of, being a bartender, I kind of had some jokes that I would use, but he kind of, taught me how to, know what I was doing now, as opposed to just being like, well, that was funny and that wasn't, so don't do that anymore, do that. You know what I mean? So he kind of taught me what I was doing and how to make it a little bit more funny and how to do the timing differently, and he taught me a lot about it. And then I did some stand-up shows, some open mics, nothing, I didn't get paid or anything. Not yet anyway. But yeah, I did a couple of open mics, and it was a good time. Yeah. It was a little tough. It was, but I already had a following as a bartender, so
brought my own audience with
brought in a lot of people. Yeah, it was fun.
Did they laugh?
They laughed. I could tell when they were faking it though, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Good. Oh yeah, there's a couple times. In fact, one of mine that's on video. There's a video of me saying, that one's not going to go in. I was like, you guys just laughed at that one because you're all my friends.
A mercy laugh.
You don't got to lie to me. I'm not trying to get away with nothing. If it's not funny, just don't laugh, because then I'll say it to somebody else and look like an idiot.
So did you do your first stand-up after the class with Isaac? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep, and I did it. It was actually at the place. They don't do them in there anymore, but at the place that he told me to meet him, it was in that same room, so it was really easy.
Was that the showcase for the comics that were in the class?
No. No, I did. I started doing open mics. I think it was the week after. Don't tell the comedians that were at the show that I said this. But I showed up to my first open mic a week after he taught the class. He said, "Hey, there's an open mic this day." So I said, "Oh, I'll go check it out." So I went and go check it out, and I was sitting in the crowd, and I was like, "I'm better than this." So I got up, and of course I bombed, and I was talking too fast, and I didn't expect to do well, but it was nice to get my feet wet, and none of my friends were there, so I can mess up. And
that's the hardest part, is to do the first one, because you're nervous.
Yeah. I was talking. I couldn't even understand me when I watched the video later. Yeah. I was like blah 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 blah, like punchline. I was like.
So I'll do that too when I get nervous, or if I only get so much time and I have so many jokes I want to tell, I wind up speeding up, and I don't even understand me at some point. I sound like I sound like the guy on the TV commercials telling you about all the
at the end?
At the end,
when it said all the all the legal stuff.
Yeah. I sound like that guy after a while. But
I believe it.
So when you took the class, you learned. What did you learn? You learned one of the things. Well, what I learned was it's not as easy as it looks, is it?
Well, see, when you were saying that it was hard to get your feet wet, because I've been bartending for 20 years. Like I also compete, or I used to compete in bartending competitions. So sometimes I'd go out there, there'd be a bar, a bunch of bottles, 500 people looking at me. Okay, now flip bottles, and I flip bottles and go and do my thing. So when I got up on stage the first time, I actually wasn't that nervous. It's just I drink a lot of caffeine, so sometimes I get a little excited, then I start talking too fast, and then you know what I mean. But it was a little bit of nerves, but like getting up on stage wasn't that big to me. That wasn't the hard part for me. The hard part for me was like what he was teaching, like misdirections and like changing some of my jokes into joke format, as opposed to just because like when you're at a bar, everybody's drunk, everybody's gonna laugh. Yeah. And you're in charge of the liquor, so they're gonna laugh even if it's not funny, So, but
that's one of the things I learned is there's rules for doing comedy. You gotta follow the rules in order for joke structure and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm glad you took the class, because just getting up there on stage and telling jokes is not really the way to do it. The way I started was I decided I wanted to be a comic. I was always the cut up in class in school, right? And so and I retired. And after a couple of years, my wife said I have to do something, get out of the house. So okay, I'll go be a comic.
Nice. Oh no!
So when you're going to start anything new, you got to buy a book.
Yeah.
So I bought a book, How to Be a Comic for Dummies, and I didn't realize that there's a science behind it.
Oh yeah.
And even the comedians that you see on TV, the real famous people like Seinfeld and George Carlin, they all have to follow the same rules, and it's pretty.
And it's funny, because I've been watching comedians since I was like 10 years old. Like my parents would always put it on, like HBO half-hour comedy hour. Back then is when I really started to listen to comedians, and my dad, I always watch them all the time. And now I go back and I watch some of those, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the rule of threes. That's a misdirection. This is they're making fun of themselves. This is, you know what I mean? Like you could go down the list and say and if you're gonna make fun of one side, you have to make fun of the other side. Like it's just. They does a good job of teaching. I really enjoyed the class, and he kept it fun.
Yeah, he's an excellent instructor.
Yeah.
If the audience ever makes it to Las Vegas area and they want to do a stand-up comedy class, Isaac is a great instructor. Don't tell him I said that.
That might be recorded somewhere. Be careful.
Nobody knows. Just us, right?
Just in case somebody's got hidden cameras.
So I also in the stuff that they had given me for your bio, it says that you grew up in Southern California.
I did.
Yeah, where at?
Tahunga is the name of the neighborhood. It's in San Fernando Valley.
Oh, the rich area.
No, it's actually, what's funny is now that I don't live there, I must have been the one holding it back, because now that I don't live there, it's actually doing well. Like they just down the street from my house, they built these $1.5 million house. I'm like, oh shoot,
nice.
I don't know.
Okay, let's wait till Tim leaves, and then
yeah, seriously. When that punk kid isn't going around breaking windows, we can build some nice houses.
Tahunga, they have Tahunga Valley and Tahunga Canyon.
Tahunga Canyon. Yep.
That's where all the rich people.
Celebrities
live.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, it's actually gotten a lot better now. It's a really nice neighborhood now. When we were growing up, it was a little bit, but Like, you don't know that definition?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I'm not sure what that definition.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I didn't die, and I only got beat up on small occasions. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
and so when did you leave California?
20 years ago. The job that I'm working now is I wanted to work that job. I actually came out here. I went and saw a bartender at the top of the Rio, and I loved it. And I said I want to be a flair bartender. So I went home and started practicing. And then I came back out here, went to Carnival Bar, the one I work at now. Once saw a guy, Steve Pacheco, flair was like this, boom, 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 and I was like, I want to quit my job and move to Vegas. Done. 2 seconds. He went like this, boom, and I was like, I'm out. And I went home and told my bosses I don't want to be here anymore, and they hired me over at Shadow Bar at Caesar's Palace. And then I moved around and then eventually got the job. This is my dream job now. Like it's.
How cool is that?
Oh yeah, it's like I said, I got it good.
We'll bring you back in a few weeks. Next time, bring some bottles. You have unbreakable kind, right? Practice bottles?
Yeah.
Oh, do something for us next
Okay.
time. I always, every time you see those people, I think of Tom Cruise.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Except for I'm better looking.
Well, duh.
A little taller.
So am I. But don't tell him.
Don't tell him I said that.
Because I think that's an amazing thing. I get mesmerized watching that.
Well, thank you.
It's the coolest.
I love doing it as much as people love watching me do it. I've been, like I said, I've been doing it for years and years, and like I've had people that have come and been coming. Like it started out as like, oh, that's my customer, and then that's my friend, and then now it's come to the point where I'm like, that's my family. Like I know, right? Like I'm not working right now, and they call me, and I call them, and we just talk and hang out, and it's really weird.
Have you seen the robotic bars?
Yeah.
Oh, they don't do any of that bottle throwing.
No. Well, have you seen the hamburger flipper?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what his name is?
No.
Flippy.
Flippy?
Those
That's
sons
your
of
nickname,
guns.
right?
That's my nickname.
Flippy.
And I was like, you dirtbags.
Yeah.
That was my idea.
Yeah, that's copyrighted.
Yes. I wish I had.
I know, right?
Oh, shoot. If I would have got flippy.com and...
I know, right?
Oh, man, I could have been...
You could have been... You have your own bar.
But apparently there's a cartoon character in Asia somewhere that's called Flippy.
Really?
And he's got all that and...
Huh.
Oh, well.
Nice.
Maybe they would have bought it from me. I don't know.
I can't tell you what my nickname is. But believe me, it's fun.
It's a G-rated show.
It's a G-rated show. So I wanted to
Yes.
explore. So anyway, I really like that what do you call it? Flair bartending?
Flair bartending, yes.
How did I get that name? Oh, because it's a
F-L-A-I-R, flair, the definition is to go above and beyond.
Okay.
You know what I mean? To do extra at your job / whatever you're doing. If you do it with flair,
there you go.
Like Ric Flair, he always went extra and big, jump off this, and so that's why it became Flair.
I didn't realize it actually had a title called Flair Bartending.
Yeah.
Is there like competitions for that?
Yes. Oh yeah. All over the world. I've been to London 5 times. I've been to
Really?
I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to Rotterdam. I've been to China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Cayman Islands. I've been all over. And 99% of the time, you go if you win the competition or take like top 5, it'll pay for the trip.
Really?
Because the prize money. You know what I mean?
And so how have you done?
I've done well. I've done. Is there anybody else here to toot my horn? And I'll toot my own. I've done very well. I've done well. Like I said, I have a good life. I'm not unhappy with any of my.
I saw that Maserati you drove in.
Life's been good. Life's been good. Very good. Lost my license and now I can't drive.
I drove in my Pinto.
Yeah.
That's how well I'm doing. But so that's pretty cool. So what's your favorite city that you visited?
Oh shoot,
Have you thought about that ever?
No, I mean of the traveling I'm doing, I've loved everywhere I've been. That being said, it made me really love America.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't realize some of the things that you take for granted, and then you go to another country and you're like, really? Like I'm not trying to break the law, and they're like, oh no, you can't do that, and I'm like, my bad. Like I was under the impression that I was an American, but apparently I'm not in America right now, and I have to be careful what I say. I apologize.
I apologize for that.
But yeah, a little freedom of speech like there is in America.
On the other side of that coin, because I've traveled abroad a lot, and one of the things that I've noticed is that public transportation in foreign countries puts ours to shame.
Oh yeah, it is amazing.
You know, my wife and I, we traveled all over Europe, all over Asia. You can go. We didn't even need a car
Yeah.
to go anywhere. It's amazing.
Well, when I was in Chicago, because I've been to every state except for Alaska. I'm sorry, yeah, Alaska, Maine, and Hawaii. So I've been to every state too. And when I was in Chicago, that's how Chicago was. It wasn't necessarily like trains and stuff. I mean, you just walk out of the street,
Yeah.
and a car pulls up, and it wasn't like it is in Vegas where you're like, take me 2 blocks and they're like $30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You take you 2 blocks, they're like $2, $3. You know what I mean?
Couple
So
bucks,
it was. In fact, when I went out to go do a competition, and I called my dad, and I just moved to Vegas, and I called my dad and said, I'm moving to Chicago. I love this. This is awesome. Like, there's bars everywhere. Everybody's offering me a job. Like, I could live like upstairs from the bar I work at. Like, I'm moving. And he goes, and it was in July, and he said, go back in November.
Yeah.
And I went back in November, and we circled around, and we couldn't find a spot to land because of the snow. And before we even landed, I was like, nah. I'll be in Vegas if you need me.
I went to Chicago once, and
It was closed?
no, it was. I think this was the only day this century that the weather was perfect. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, we went down to the Coney Island thing
Mhm.
down there. The weather was like 80 degrees,
Yeah.
no wind. And my wife and I looked at each other and we thought, we could live here.
Yeah.
And then we said,
Same thing happened to me the first
Yeah.
time I went.
no.
Yep. Because we were hanging out on the beach.
Yeah.
The beach was packed full of people. I was like, this is amazing. Like,
I know.
I could live here.
I know.
And the guy that I was staying at his house, he lived like 4 blocks from the beach. And I was like, it's expensive? He goes, no, not really.
No.
And I said, oh, cool. I'll just move to Chicago.
Yeah, until the winter hits.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I
No
don't know.
bueno.
I don't know how people do that. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I think I would dig out my car once
Yeah.
and be like, nah, I'm out
Yeah.
here. Well, in fact, some guy came to my bar, wanted to hire me, and said, hey, like, oh, how are you? The guy was wearing, he had a bracelet on that was this fat, was covered in diamonds. And then he's wearing all these rings and this big fat watch and necklaces. And he's like, I want to hire you to work at my bar. And I said, like I tell everybody, I'm expensive. Just so you know, I'm happy right here. If I'm going to go somewhere else and be miserable, you're going to pay me for it. And he goes, I don't care what the number is. You tell me. And I said, where do you want me to go? And he goes, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh.
And I said, ooh, doesn't look good for you, buddy. And he goes, go home and think about it and come back and give me a number. Needless to say, I gave him a number and he said I was hiring crack. And I said, I'm happy here. It's going to have to be double what I'm making here because
Well, at least.
here I get treated like gold by my bosses, my customers. I mean, I got it good.
Yeah, and
That's
besides, I don't know. I guess I went to Milwaukee once or twice,
mhm.
and it wasn't one of my favorite cities. I mean, it's a nice city. There's nice people there,
Yeah,
but
but it stops right there with the nice people.
so earlier I asked when you were traveling internationally if you had a favorite city, and let me tell you about mine while you're thinking.
Yes.
So we've been everywhere, and the best city ever is Barcelona, Spain.
Ooh, I have
Oh
not
my
been there.
gosh, that is the most beautiful city ever. They have this down the center of the city. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a plaza that goes the length of the downtown area,
Mhm.
and that's where everybody congregates. And there's outdoor cafes, there's entertainment. That's where everybody congregates, and so we went there. We had a 2-week vacation, and we went and spent 2 weeks at a little hotel right on this thing. It's called Plaza De La Plaza, something De La Plaza. Somebody in the audience will know. But it was incredible. We had such a good time. And then we saw this amazing site. It's called Church of the Family, Church de Familia. It was built by Gaudi, the artist Gaudi.
Oh, okay.
And this church, they've been building it for over 100 years. And it's the most incredible structure you have ever seen in your entire life. And I'm sure some of our audience has been there. That's probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Nice.
But Barcelona was my favorite city of all the cities that I've been to.
I've heard a lot of people. I've never been there. I've heard a lot of people go to Barcelona, and I've heard that nobody is unhappy.
No.
But I have favorite cities that I've been to. But I mean, I don't know if it was the city or because I went to Australia and I was in Sydney, and I wasn't a big fan of Sydney. Sydney was like New York with an accent.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And then I went to Manly, and Manly was like San Diego with an accent.
Cool.
You know what I mean? So it was
The
like
same but different.
yeah, it was amazing. I would that would probably be, but like I said, one of my best friends was getting married, so I went out there and I was hanging out with him and his family, and you know what I mean. So I don't know if it was the company or if it was the place, but I had a great time in Manly, Australia.
I've not been to Australia. That's kind of on my bucket list. I want to go on a cruise to Australia
Nice.
in the South Pacific. I'd like to go. I'd like to go to some of the islands in the South Pacific, just because they're so pretty. I've
Yeah.
seen pictures of them and stuff. But we'll see.
Yeah. You got time.
I know I gotta do better on my comedy to make more money.
Or just start
Panhandling?
push out there and have somebody hire you and bring you out there.
Oh, I know.
That's what I did with bartending. He's like, hey, you guys want me to come out there? And they're like, sure. And I'm like, okay, what I'll do is I'll compete in your competition or slash what's it called? Be a judge in your competition or compete, and then I'll work your bar 2 days a week. How much money do you want to give me? We give you this much. All right, that covers the ticket. I'll be right there.
So you've been a judge as well?
Oh yeah.
Wow, cool.
Like I said, I've been doing it for so many years. I think I've been in every.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's been great the whole time. It's been so many cool people that I've met.
I just thought as you were talking, I thought maybe I'll be a flair comedian.
Yeah.
I can juggle jokes or something, right?
You juggle anything.
See what comes down.
We'll figure it out.
Juggling jokes, but so I'm gonna wind up going to Australia sometime. I think.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's very.
And I say I didn't like Sydney. I did like Sydney, but I mean I was a tourist there. It just wasn't that far out of my. Like Australia wasn't that far out of because like I like to go somewhere where it like throws me for a loop. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like when you go to London. When I was in London, I was like walking down this where all these flats were, where the apartments were, and people had American flags with circles and crosses through them. Like we love America, but we don't go out of our way to say we hate other people. They were going out of their way to say. But then on the other side of that, I actually talked to a guy. I was at a bar out there, and I talked to a guy standing at a Fridays, an American grill. And he said something about, oh, you're from America? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I hate Americans. And I was like, well, right on. Like, well, we feel the same about you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I don't care.
Touché.
And then I said, do you hate Americans or do you hate American politics? And he goes, I hate American politics. I said, do you like your politics? He goes, no. He goes, nobody likes politics. Like, come on, dude. Like, and then we ended up chatting it up and being cool. And I didn't have any, like, I saw things like with the circles and the cross, but every single person, except for him, was immediately, oh, cool. You're from America? Awesome. Like, let's hang out. Let's have fun. Like, it wasn't like everybody thinks it was. Everybody's like thinks that they're snooty and rah, like they're not. I went there. I had a great time. Like I said, I went back 4 more times after that.
Yeah, many years ago, we did a 6-week backpacking trip through Europe.
Nice.
And the one thing that I noticed is that when you see something American, like we were in Munich, Germany, and there was a McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
And you're thinking, wait a minute, something's wrong with this picture.
Yeah.
And you go in there, and it's a McDonald's, and it's just like you're home for a minute.
But what was on the menu? Did they have different items on the menu? Because with my travel, I've noticed like when you're in Mexico, they have more salsa-y. Yep. You know what I mean? Like what's it called? When I went to Singapore, because usually when I go to another country, I'm like, I want to eat nothing of the norm. Like I'll get in a cab and be like, take me where the Americans don't go, and they'll take me to a spot, and I'll go to the first restaurant, and be like, bring me food Americans would never eat. I'm like, all right, and I'll bring it out, and I'll try it and eat it, blah, blah, blah. But then in Singapore, I was in Singapore for 11 days. On that 11th day, I was like, take me to a Burger King. What do you want? I want a burger with cheese.
I want a burger.
Hey, a burger, exactly. I wanted to put on cowboy boots and go stir up and in there. Like, I just wanted American food, because, I mean, we went to one restaurant, they didn't have plates, they had banana leaves.
Oh, really?
They had banana leaves, and then like there were no forks. You just ate with your hands, and there's a whole table of like 10 of us, and everybody's just boom, 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 boom. And I was like, but that's why I go out of the country. I don't want to. If I want McDonald's, I can get McDonald's.
But so we did some extensive traveling in Turkey.
Oh, nice.
And that was not so much now, but it was very interesting. This was about 10 years ago, and Turkey was an amazing country. The food was phenomenal, and so I'm on a mobility scooter, and in some countries, they don't have curb ramps.
Yeah.
And so on several occasions...
It's another reason why I like America.
Yeah, exactly right. And so on several occasions, I couldn't get up the curb to get into a restaurant.
Yeah.
These people, oh, you're American? No problem. So they bring the whole table
No
with
way.
the chairs out into the street by the curb.
That's
and
awesome.
serve us out there. So there we were one time, and we had candles on the table, and we're sitting right by the traffic go flying by. They're very hospitable, you know. As long as you don't cop an attitude.
Yeah, as long as you're not like, I'm American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this hotel, we stopped in one time to get a drink, and there was this Texan, big, tall Texan guy with a cowboy hat on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were in Paris, and he was really upset because he couldn't get a room. And so in his deepest Texan accent, he's saying, "After all we did for you people in the war."
Oh.
And it's like, oh my gosh.
That wasn't you, and it wasn't them.
I know, right?
That was way before you. You were two.
You know,
Jerk.
that's why people think badly about Americans, is
Yep.
because of the exception. I'm American. You need to treat me like a king. No, but
Yeah, some people are like that. It's just makes people like me and you look good.
I know, right?
That's all I'm saying.
I know. But I do like traveling out of the country. There's so many cool things to see, and the people in general, people are great.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I had that one problem with one guy, and I was like, really? And he goes, no, not really. Like, you seem like a cool guy. And I'm like, I don't like the politics anywhere. And you hate the politics everywhere, so we're the same.
Yeah, so see, we're the same. Amigo.
Yeah, so, like I said, that was as far as it ever got. I never had, like, knock on wood, I never had any, I'm not going to knock on the table. I'm not on the table. But I never had any, I had a couple situations where it was like, that's shady. It's time to go. Everybody, let's go. You know what I mean? Because like when I was in Amsterdam, there were times like we were walking down the strip, and I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of that. I don't smoke, nothing. And so I went with 10 guys. But I won a competition in London. There was enough money to buy a plane ticket to Amsterdam, so I went to Amsterdam. These 10 guys went with me. All 10 guys partook in everything that you could possibly do in Amsterdam. So we're walking down the strip, and I got these 10 guys ahead of me, and then I see some guy, which I found out the slang term for cocaine is Charlie, because I didn't know at the time, and some guy's like, hey, we got Charlie over here, you want some? And then one of my buddies was like, sure, he doesn't know either. He starts trotting down the aisle, I'm like, whoa, like going down like a dark alley, and I'm like, no, get back in line, like absolutely not. Like, but other than that, I mean, I guess maybe I just avoided it, but I've never had a, like.
Amsterdam was cool.
Amsterdam is awesome. And I don't partake in anything, and I still had a great time.
I know. I'm there with my wife, and you go down the main street, and they have prostitution is legal there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the red light district.
And so they have in front of like an establishment, they'll have a little glass room, and inside the room, it's got a glass wall and it's got curtains, and on the side is a door, and in there is a could be an attractive woman or not so attractive woman, a heavy one, a light one. It doesn't matter. All kinds of women. And you just kind of go around, knock on the door.
She let you in.
Go in. They shut the blinds.
And then again, you have to look at this up and then.
I know, right? So.
And then.
Yeah. But it was quite an experience. And
yeah.
It's
it was trippy. We were sitting at a coffee shop just watching one, and we see like a girl. She was attractive, and we were sitting there, and some guy goes up the door and knocks on the door, and then as he's coming out, we're like, whoa! Another guy's going in. They're like, hey. Jeez. I'm like, whoa! Like. Ixnay. A little bit too low. I don't want to know.
But that was a very interesting city.
Oh yeah, it's great. Well, I mean, what is it? Hash, mushrooms, and weed are legal. And like I said, my friends were like they're up in the room. We're all paid. We're splitting the room. They got they paid for a Carrie, Kate Ash, and who's those two girls?
Oh, the twins?
Ashley.
The twin. Yeah, those girls. They get a movie from them, and I'm like, guys, I'm not smoking anything, so you guys are gonna laugh at anything. Can I pick a movie? And they're like, no, so we watched it twice. Oh, it's so horrible.
So horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't tell them I said that.
Yeah. Oh, nobody will find out.
I don't. Yeah, it's not like I'm recording it. It's just us.
Just us here. Nobody's gonna find out about it. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed some of the cities I went to. Have you been on cruises?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Really?
Personally, no. I don't blame people that like them, but I'm more of a, I'm just gonna there's times when I'm traveling and I walk out and I look to the right and I'm like, we're going that way. What's that way? And we just start walking and we end up getting lost and then we find something and hang out there all day and da. But in a cruise, you're like, you got the buffet, you got the pool, you got the comedy club, and the guy that's doing the comedy in the comedy club serves the mashed potatoes at the all you can eat, and he also cleans your room, and you know what I mean. So it's like it's weird. Not to say that they weren't funny; they were funny, but I like to have a bigger.
It would seem to me that would be an ideal place to have a flair bartender contest. Especially in rocky seas.
Yeah, I'd really test you.
Yeah.
They have a lot of flair bartenders that work on those ships, though. Because, like, for flair bartending, you kind of have to be in, like, a touristy place like Vegas or on a ship because you do the same tricks kind of over and over again. You don't come up with a new routine every day. You know what I mean? So it's better when people are rotating it out, which a boat is kind of perfect because it fills up with a bunch of people, then all those people leave, and then a whole new group of people come in. You can start scratching. Nobody's ever seen stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, you weren't her last cruise.
Yeah. I was just doing this 2 days ago.
Shoot. But, that's a lot of fun. So cruising, that's probably one of my favorite things to do too.
Yeah.
Is cruising.
Not that I didn't have a good time. I had a good time.
Yeah.
But I try to make a good time at everything.
Oh,
The camera's picking up my dog hairs. Is it
well,
cool?
we thought,
Dog hairs.
we thought maybe you just.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, there wouldn't be this much hair.
It'd
be a lot less hair.
It'd be more gray.
Yeah, seriously.
The Flowers walking.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Yeah.
Good job, Flowers. Got my back.
So what do you want to talk about?
Hmm?
What would you like to share with the audience?
I don't know.
Your philosophy on the pandemic?
Oh.
your
Well,
thoughts on it?
this show is more centered around comedy acts and stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I mean, you guys are all comedians, and you guys are like Tickle Me. I know that he does the comedy shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Well, I could tell you. Do you want to truthfully know why I don't do comedy anymore?
Sure.
It's gonna hurt your feelings. Well, when I started bartending, I was doing these shows, right? And you go and I practice for 8 hours a night, put in all this work, and I come in, and just like comedy, you flop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When I flopped, 8 bartenders, the other 8 guys in the competition came up and said, "Hey, man, it's fine.
Okay.
You're good. It's your first one. You got it out. If you want to come over to my house and practice, we can do some stuff. We can practice with each other. We can have a good time." And then everybody, when the competition's over, they all stay and they drink. We're talking to girls. We're having a good time. I went and did my first open mic comedy show. Tried to talk to people. People were like, and I was like, what? Like, what? Did I say something wrong? Like, did I steal your joke without knowing? Like, this is my first show. If I said a joke that was yours, tell me, and I won't use it. And then I even had a guy that said, he said, I went on and I talked about because the host of the show looked like Ned Flanders and the lead singer of Queen had a baby. So I said something on that note, and then some guy walked up to me and said, "You never make fun of the host."
Oh, really?
And I said back to him, "Well, I'm learning from one of my friends, and he said that nothing's off limits." That's what I was under there. So you never do that. So time goes on, and I kind of get out of it. I go see him at a show at another one. That guy's hosting again. Guess what he said?
Yeah, he took it, right?
He took my joke, told me not to say it because he wanted to tell everybody that it was his joke.
Exactly.
So that's why I think because when I started Flair Bartending, everybody was like, let's do it together. Like that's why, like I said, I would probably get back into comedy, but if I went into comedy, I would show up with a crew.
Yeah.
These are my 5 guys. We're all funny.
Yeah.
And if you guys, at the end of this, we're going to buy some drinks for some girls and hang out and have a good time rather than, because I mean, literally people were, like in the show that I was in, people were going out and moping. And then one time I brought in, because I didn't put anything on Facebook right away. And then I put some stuff on Facebook and they said 40 of my friends showed up in this bar that was about as big as this place.
Mm-hmm.
So I packed the place. Boom. The owner was at home, came in and was like, "Thank you so much." And I was, of course, this is what it's all about. We're all trying to help each other out, and everybody wants to make money. And if I can help you make money, and you let me get up on stage, I help you make money. That's what it's about. But the first thing somebody says to me when I walk off a stage, the only reason anybody laughs is because they're all your friends. I was like, "Thanks," and I'm short too. You want to bring out my dead dog from 2 years ago? What are we talking about here, man? That's probably why I'm still not in comedy. So
Okay, so
to get a little bit serious, sorry everybody.
that's okay.
I know it's a comedy show. I'm supposed to be serious, not supposed to be serious.
let's see. Well, it's okay. We have no format. Whatever
Whatever
direction
happens,
it
happens. So just cut that part out.
No, let's explore that a little bit. So, have you done a real show?
Well, I did the one show, not a paying show now.
No, but not an open mic, but a regular show.
No.
Okay. My experience is that there's a big difference between open mics and a regular show. And I haven't been doing comedy for that long, but this is one of the things that I've observed, is that when you're at open mic, you got other comedians there, mostly other comedians, and they're there, they're trying out their new stuff, you're trying out your new stuff. So it's not a real atypical audience. It's a totally different, it's like, I liken it to doing heart surgery with a bunch of other heart surgeons standing around, right?
Yeah.
They're going to critique you, that kind of stuff. So hold off on your I don't want to do comedy thing until you've done a couple of shows, whether they're paid or not, with a real audience out in front. Because I think you'll find a difference.
Well, yeah. The thing is with me is because I did talk to people about it. I said, well, is it always like this? Is every crowd like this? Because I mean, it was literally people were in the crowd like this.
Really?
Oh yeah, not even looking at me. And I'd go and say "Hey, what'd you think of my show? Is there anything you can help with?" And he'd be like, "Eh." In fact, one guy was up at the bar, ordering a drink, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get that guy's drinks. Hey, great show today, man." Like that. And he goes, "Oh, thanks." Takes off, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to open up avenues and have friends. I don't even care if I make it as a comedian. I got my I'm happy being a bartender. You know what I mean? If they were like, boy, you suck, I'd be like, well, I've still got my bartending. Like, I'm happy. You know what I mean? So, but I just wanted to go there and try something new and have some fun. But back to what I was saying, they said, like, you're going to have to be a bartender at open mics for a set amount of time before you get a job like that. I said, I'm not willing to do that. Sorry. Like, I'm not gonna keep doing open mics and have these people put me down. And all of them were like bummed out. And I was like, no wonder you're bummed out. Like, I don't want to be bummed out. Like, I'm not gonna hang out with you guys. I'm out of here.
Did somebody tell you have to do open mics for a certain period of time?
And, well, they said once you get the feeling of it, you have to do open mics until you get a good act. And well, I was told, like, if you could come up with, I forget what the time frames were, but they said, like, you'll come up with 5 minutes, and if they like your 5 minutes, they want you to come up with 10 minutes. If they like your 10 minutes, then you want to come up with 30 minutes. When you're 30 minutes, you usually get $50 a show. Like, I forget what the exact numbers were, but
sure.
It's been a few years since I've done it. But it's been tricky. But that's
well, don't give up on it, because I think you're pretty funny.
Thank you.
You have potential.
Maybe one day.
One day.
Can you put me under the wing? That'd be good.
The jury's still out.
Yeah.
Haven't reported back yet. But and when you do it, like I said, when you do a show in front of a live audience, a regular audience, it'll be totally different.
Well, the thing is, I had a good time. Like, when I brought in those 40 people, and then when we did because there was a final that Isaac had, and he was like, he had a show at the Hard Rock, and so and we went there, and I didn't know that my friends did this for me. Because I said, hey, just a few friends show up. I'm going to have this show. If you guys want to show up, show up. Well, we had friends coming from Texas.
Oh.
And everybody was coming into town to have this big meeting that they had. They played poker every year. And since everybody was there, so there was probably 120 of my friends there.
Really?
You know what I mean? It just packed the place. And of course, then the guy comes over, hey, thank you so much. And
Yep.
and by then I had made a few friends in the class. So they were very appreciative that I had brought everybody. But it was actually funny because he was like, hey, you're going to go like third from last. And I was like, okay, like there's probably 15 people. Like, gives me an idea of where I'm sitting, like, as far as my comedy goes. I need to work on some things to get to where I'm closer to the end. I was like, that's cool, though. I don't mind criticism, you know what I mean? And then he goes, people start showing up. And he goes, you're fifth from last. A couple more people show up. You're going fifth. A couple more people show up. He goes, how's it feel to headline your first show?
Yes! Headline my very first show.
Yeah.
That is
But so, I mean, I had a good time because all the people I was telling jokes to had the same sense of humor as me because they were my friends. And there was all stuff they hadn't heard.
And they know you, and they can, exactly.
Yeah.
I did that. I have a following, and they usually try to come out. Not quite as many as you have, but one time I had a bunch of family in town, and there was probably 10 or 12 family members, and I drug them along with me. They'd not seen me do comedy. And so I wrote some family jokes.
Nice.
And oh my gosh, it was the best laughs I had all night. It was just coming from one table, but it was hilarious.
Whatever. Laughs are laughs. You take them out, you can get them. I'll take any laughs. Pity laugh? I'll take it.
Yeah, you talk about your brother when you were 6 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like it's kind of an inside joke, but it's still is. So
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. So one of the things that I've learned again in the short period of time that I've been doing comedy again, haven't been doing it very long, and
How long have you been doing it?
6 years.
Oh, really? That's not long?
No.
Wow.
There's people that've been doing it for.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's good people that do it longer than you, but 6 years, you got to have yourself a pretty good resume, no?
Oh, I hope so.
You getting paid gigs?
Oh yeah.
Doing something right?
Well, not since the pandemic.
No, well, I'm not getting paid gigs right now because of the pandemic, and I'm a bartender
I know,
in Vegas.
I've been doing comedy in front of the mirror, and I'm not getting paid for that.
I think it's the same thing for bartenders.
I'm not getting any laughs either.
No, well.
But so
No, I
got lost again for a
lost
second.
his train of
folks.
thought.
What was I at? Hold on. That doesn't matter. Go somewhere else. Okay, we're back. So I think that's a lot of fun. So the more people you bring, the happier the owners of the club are.
Yeah.
That seems to be what I've learned is that they like you, especially if you can bring people.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is the bottom line. I mean, I'm not going to try and say that, you know what I mean, my comedy's going to bring in that many people. Those people came because they were my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they wanted to, but they, again, like, it was like in the bartending community, it's very like, we got you, bro. What do you want to try? I want to try comedy. We'll be there. You know what I mean? We got you. Like, I don't care where it is. I mean, I had some customers that had flown out from Iowa. Like, I mean, they were like, we heard you're going to be in the show. We came out. We're retired. We got nothing better to do. So they came all the way out, and I had like people from California. I had like it was quite the show. Like, and that's like kind of how the bartending community is. And it was tough. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again. That was a bad time to try to get back into it, but it was tough just because when I got into it, I thought it was going to be like people like what you did when you were like, well, don't give up. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, jump back in there and do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be more of that and less of people being like, no, you shouldn't say that joke and then steal it. And then other people telling me the only reason anybody laughed at my joke is because they were the right friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then but I had like one of my bartending friends, Randy. I've been friends with him since way before I was a bartender. So over 2 decades, I've been friends with this guy. And I went in there and I showed him my notebook. And I said, these are all my jokes. These are all my this. So as we're watching other comedians, he's watching the other comedians, but he's kind of thumbing through my stuff. He's a funny guy. Like I tried to get him into comedy, he wouldn't do it. But he goes like this and says, "Can I write some stuff down?" And I said, "Dude, by all means." Starts writing stuff down, boom, 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 boom. And his joke that he let me have was the one about Ned Flanders and the lead singer. That was his joke.
Nice.
Yeah, and so he was like, and he just thought when the guy came out, he goes, "Oh, dude, you gotta say this. Check it out."
Oh, yeah.
Like that. And I was like, "Oh, sweet."
So
Like, oh yeah, he had some good stuff. Yeah, but that's how I thought that the whole community was gonna be. I thought the whole community was gonna be like, "Hey, I got this bald joke. I got hair. Do you want it?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it, man. Thanks." Like,
Try it. Check it.
I got this joke about being ugly. Maybe you can have it. No, what? Don't say that.
So you get all kinds of different audiences. This one night we were doing Isaac and I were doing an open mic at this place down by Fremont Street,
Mm-hmm.
and it was this cute little establishment. And the people that were hosting it, they were a little bizarre.
Yeah, a little shady, huh?
No, not shady. They were just I can't remember the name of the group, but anyway, they were like really different. So
Yeah.
there weren't just comedians. There were other kinds. There were people that were doing poetry.
Yeah.
There were people that thought they could sing and play the guitar. And then, so I get up to do my set, and the young girl that's hosting it is sitting in the front row. And I'm doing my jokes, and she's saying, "Oh, you can't do that one. Don't say that again." Well, I'm doing my set. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So the point is that you got to just keep pushing through. You know, if there's adversity, you just got to push through it and just get past it because it'll be a lot of fun. And so she just sat there looking at me like, "Dude, I told you not to say that."
See, I don't know. Like I think a lot of people are like that, where they're like, you have to be careful what you say. But I think comedians kind of like, one of the things I like about comedians is they kind of like expose the pink elephant in the room. You know what I mean? As opposed where everybody's like, oh, like, and then he makes a joke about it, and you're like, oh, okay, like we all knew it was there, but we didn't want to talk about it. Maybe we should talk about it. Like I always thought it's been like that. And nowadays it's like, nah, you talked about that, nobody watches you anymore. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, which I kind of wish they do to me. That'd be the most attention I've had as a comedian ever.
So when I started, it was even 6 years ago. It's different now because you got to be politically sensitive.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, I thought comedy was no holds barred.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I got into it. And I said a joke about Bruce Jenner, and everybody kind of was like, meh. And then I was like, I don't know, that's funny. I don't care what you say. Like you can hate me, but some guy that used to win the men's decathlon and now he's a woman. Like that's funny.
There's some comedy in there.
Yeah, there's somewhere in there. There's got to be comedy. Like.
But I haven't had that experience. I haven't had anybody come up to me other than this crazy lady that night say, well, I have to take that back. My wife, on the way home.
Wait a minute. The crazy lady came up to me at night. Well, no, hold on. My wife. Now, who is this?
Two separate ladies.
We're recording this. Your wife might see this. Be careful.
Yeah, no.
Two separate ladies. Got it.
Two separate ladies.
Okay.
The crazy lady at the comedy club.
Okay, different from the wife. Got it.
Other uncrazy.
And beautiful.
And
sensual.
And drove home with me.
Yes.
On the way home, she'd be saying things like, "Don't say that joke again."
Oh, really?
It's like, oh my gosh, I don't need to be critiqued by my wife. But I think it was because I was doing jokes about her. Not her. No, I wasn't doing jokes about her. I was doing jokes about her using a surrogate, like my niece. But she knew they were about her.
Yeah. Oh, well, my girlfriend at the time watched my ex-girlfriend at the time. It was right after I broke up with my girlfriend. And my ex-girlfriend at the time, I actually had a joke about ex-girlfriends. And my ex-girlfriend now, she's great. We broke up. It didn't work out, but I think she's a great person. We didn't hate each other and be like, meh, meh, meh. But I had a joke about I love the way my ex-girlfriend moves. And then she moves all her stuff out of my house and into her boyfriend's house. You know what I mean? I made that joke. But it was more for the girlfriend before that. And she heard that joke. She was like, I don't like that. And I was like, it's not about you really. Like it's just an act. Like it more came to my head when I was thinking about my ex-girlfriend from before. I was like, it's not you. And she goes, yeah, but everybody doesn't know that. And I'm like, but nobody takes me serious. Like who cares? Nobody, it's jokes.
You should have some
But-
executive privilege.
But she's my ex-girlfriend, so
Yeah, who cares?
I don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna talk to you again.
I
I
like
know.
that, though. I like the way you move
All
your
your
stuff
stuff
out.
my house. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like it. But, so.
That's called a misdirection, as
Yeah,
Isaac taught me.
exactly, right?
Isaac, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. But we don't know where
Thanks for
he
showing
is.
up tonight.
He's got,
It's great to not see. It's never mind.
I don't know who in HR gives him all this time.
Yeah, seriously.
But I want to talk to that
He must be
person.
the boss or something. Does he wear a
Yeah.
suit?
Who, Isaac?
Isaac.
He showed up one night in a suit.
Then he's the boss then.
Oh, no.
Jerk.
No.
Yeah.
We did a
Bosses make or suits make me nervous.
I don't know.
Lanyards make me nervous, and clipboards make me nervous.
Well, I used to say when I was working, because I didn't wear a suit at work, is the only time I'm ever going to wear a necktie is if it's a job interview or a funeral.
Yeah.
That's it.
The only time I'm wearing a necktie is at my funeral, and that's because
Yeah.
somebody else is putting it on me.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not. I'll show up to the funeral if you do it.
And it's going to be a clip-on.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
If that. I'm not much of a tie guy.
Yeah, but so what does the future hold for you when this pandemic thing gets over? Are you working now? I didn't.
Yeah. I get every once in a while they'll call me. Like I've got 20 years with the company, so I went from like top dog to because I'm number 6 of the people that work there. I'm number 6, so I went from like I could pick whatever I want down to now they call me every Thursday to work Fridays, and they offer me a kiosk shift, which is not on the main bar. It's off the bar on the strip where all the homeless people are coming up. Hey, can I get a water?
You know,
I
tying
can
that
certainly
back to your
water.
comedy, maybe if you brought in more people to the bar, you'd be like the headliner barkeep.
This is here lies the problem. Is when I did bring in more people because I bounce up on my head and I'm doing all my stuff, and people start to pile up. The bosses come out and they're like, "Hey, no more than 5 people at the bar at a time. No more than this. Got to keep it moving. You can't this. You can't that." And I'm like, I don't know. I've been for 20 years. You've told me to make it busy. I don't know how to not make it busy.
Yeah.
Like so, the next customer walked up and I was like,
You're number 6.
"Yeah, beat it. It's too many people here."
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute. Is this G-rated?
Okay.
Don't show this to my mom.
That's it with my mom.
Yeah, if she finds out I'm flipping people off.
Don't say anything at the podcast. You want your mom to hear.
Yeah,
Right.
that's never worked.
But yeah, so I'm anxious for this pandemic thing to get over with.
So am I.
I am, this is. I mean, I've done a couple of shows.
Mhm.
We did a Zoom comedy show.
Nice.
That
How'd
was-
that go?
I've talked about it before, but you hadn't heard it. But it was interesting. We had some audience members and we had some other comedians. And my favorite part of it was I didn't have to memorize my set because I put it on an index card right under the camera.
Nice.
Because I have a problem sometimes memorizing my set because I'll get off on a tangent.
Yep.
It's not even on my set list, and it's like, oh my gosh. So it was pretty cool. The feedback, we got some feedback, but it wasn't quite. I didn't know. I only did one Zoom. But then a couple months later, we did a drive-in comedy show.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Everybody just stays in their car?
yeah, everybody stays in their car. Well, we had some picnic tables out too.
Oh,
It was
okay.
a nice summer night. And
Did they have microphones and put a... I
we
mean,
had
how
a
close were
stage.
they?
Well, it was just like at a drive-in.
Oh, okay.
So we had a stage.
Cool. Just
and
trying to figure out
lighting, and it was an industrial area, and so we put a stage and some lighting and some sound, and the people were parked in their cars. We had some picnic tables. People were sitting at the picnic tables, and the feedback was really interesting. You know, comedians, we live off of the feedback that we get, right?
Absolutely.
It keeps us motivated, keeps us pumped up. And so the feedback, we got feedback, but it was a different kind. It was honking of horns.
Ah,
Which
okay.
we did, all of us, we kind of thought beforehand, we thought, we don't know how this is going to work, but
You're not going to know when somebody's enjoying something, but they...
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I've said this before, but it's really funny. So instead, we always ask where people are from,
Mhm.
and we didn't have to that night because you could look at their license plates and say, oh, you're from Florida. Oh, you're
That
from
works out.
you're from Hawaii. How'd you get here?
Yeah, huh? Must be driving fast.
Maybe you must have a big gas tank. But it was pretty good. We had a great time. So that was good. So hopefully if the pandemic thing doesn't get over soon, we'll do some more of those because that was a lot of fun. It turned
Yeah.
out well. But
Well, I want the pandemic to be over now, so...
I don't know.
I
I'm
wanna-
ready.
I was ready. Well, when they said they were going to close down, I was like, they're not going to close down. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. I work for Harris. Like, there's no way they
Yeah.
can close down. And then they said, we're going to close down for 2 weeks. I was like, oh, well, it's not going to be any more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, multi-billion-dollar company. They're not going to close down for more than 2 weeks. 7
Yeah,
months
okay.
later, I'm like, oh, is
Yeah.
anybody hiring? Home Depot.
I'm ready for it to get over with. I'm ready to get back on stage.
Yeah.
this is getting to be too much. But so let's see. Anything else? How could do you have like a following on Facebook, or do you have like any YouTube videos or anything?
I do. I have some YouTube videos. None of them are mine. It's ones that customers take. No, I mean customers will take them of me and put them up. I don't have my own channel.
Okay.
I don't have my own. I have an Instagram, but I don't really do a lot of.
So,
I should. If I did more stuff on social media, I'd probably do well. But I just.
So if somebody in the audience wanted to see you do the flair bartending,
I'd probably just go to YouTube, type in Tim Flippy Morris.
Tim Flippy Morris, and the editing team will put it on the screen right down here. But
here it is, right here.
Tim Flippy Morris. So check him out on YouTube and I see his great work. I love that. I think it's so cool.
Thank you.
So this is my sad job. Every time we do one of these podcasts, is I have to bring them to an end. So I want to thank you for spending some time with us.
I appreciate you guys having me in. It's been a good time. I love doing this sort of thing. So
when they told me that I was going to be interviewing a bartender, I thought, what are we going to talk about? But
like I said, every time I've done one of these, I'm like, how long is it going to be? An hour? Oh my gosh! And then when an hour comes up, I'm like, oh, all right.
But it's been amazing. I'll make sure that I get out to see you do the flair bartending.
I would say anytime, but
yeah, after the
pandemic, anytime.
That's what I was going to say. I think I'm apolitical, so I'm not one side or the other. But I think on January 21st, the pandemic's going to be over. Either way this thing goes, I think on January 21st, the doors will open up.
That's weird, and I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So.
I think it's going to come to an end here pretty quick.
Yeah, I do too. I'm hoping, I'm praying that it does, because enough.
I'm done with it. It's not. Yeah.
I think we've enough. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So this is Dillon Dillgaff saying thanks for being with us. We really appreciate you watching the shows. We love that we've got some long-term visitors or watchers, and we're having a great time doing these things. Sometimes we get a little out of hand.
With both of us? Oh my gosh.
No.
We were going two different directions for 1 minute.
But again, thanks to our crew, thanks to Tickle Me Comedy and the Blue Zone Comedy Tour and Asian Cultural TV. So I'm Dillon Dillgaff, and until we see you again, good night, everybody.